Hey there, to finish this week of tags, I've decided to do the bandwagon tag. And let's start with the first question. Which bandwagon have you not jumped on yet but are looking forward to? There are quite a few. I still want to read Patrick Neff's books and Alan Hopkins. And I also want to start with Cinder and Scarlet because everybody loves these books. Question 2. Which is your favorite bandwagon you have jumped on? I would say that's the Infernal Devices. I just love Will Herondale and the whole setting and everything. That's awesome. Which is the worst bandwagon you have jumped on? I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it's The Hunger Games. I didn't particularly like all the books. The first one was okay, but after that I got really annoyed with the story, and we don't need to talk about the third one. Question 4. Which authors of a trilogy, series, duology do you respect the most and why? Well, that's an easy question because that's definitely Terry Pratchett. I respect him for the amount of books he writes, for the awesomeness of the world he created, for his humor and his ideas, and just the satire in the books is awesome. And I also respect him very much for writing still and fighting to continue writing. And if you don't know, he's got Alzheimer's disease, so it's really tough to write. Question 5. Why do bandwagons create such divided opinion? I think it's because so many people either love it or hate it. You cannot just say like, oh, it's okay. People want you to choose sides, and you're pressured into liking it by all the people who say like, it's awesome. That's why people want to read it too, and then they're disappointed and they are scared of saying that. I mean, the Twilight series is just a good example. Either people loved it or hated it. You couldn't say like, yeah, it was okay, but you had to decide, and you had to love it because otherwise you were one of the haters, and it's kind of stupid. Question 6. How many trilogies, series, duologies have you read and what are they? I don't know, let's have a look. The New York trilogy, if you can call it a trilogy if it's in one book. I read 2 of the Richard Castle novels. There are, I think, 4. I'm 2 books into the Thursday Next series. I read most of the Tales of the City, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, Dirk Gently's Detective Agency series. I read the Parasol Protectorate series in book form, and I have the first 2 mangas. I started Etiquette and Espionage, but the second novel isn't out yet. I read The Infernal Devices. I read the first book in the Native Star, I think it's a duology, and unfortunately I read the 3rd book in the Newberry and Hobbs series, or whatever that series is called. I read Bone Shaker. I don't know what the series is called, but I think Dreadnought is the 2nd book. I read the Leviathan trilogy. I read the First Law trilogy. I read some of the Misconceptions, or whatever this series is called, by Robert Asprin. You know, I read the Discworld series. I read The Gates, and I think it's the first book in the series about Samuel Johnson. I read The Hunger Games. I read The Darkest Rising, Artemis Fowl, the Twilight series. I read the first book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and I need to continue with this one. I read the Chronicles of Narnia, the Legend series, His Dark Materials, Harry Potter of course, the Book of Dead Days, a duology. I read the first 2 in a bind-up for the Vampire Diaries, and then I got annoyed with the story and didn't continue. The Bartimaeus trilogy. This is the first in a series I don't know the name of, and I need to read the 2nd one. All these things, and because it's in my blood, I don't know what the series name is, but I need to read the 3rd one as soon as it comes out. Or is it out? Anyways. Question 7. Which books in recent trilogy, series, duology are you most looking forward to reading? Definitely Champion, the last book in the Legend trilogy. Is that what it's called? The Legend trilogy? Question 8. Of all the bandwagons you have jumped on, which have been the most difficult to read? I would say the 100-year-old man who jumped out of a window and disappeared. Let's say it's a bandwagon if you get the book thrown at you at every store for months. Question 9. If you could write your own series of books, what would they be about? If I had a cool idea, I wouldn't tell you, but I don't have one. Question 10. Which is the bandwagon you would read over and over? I guess that would be Harry Potter. Definitely. I'd love to read all the series I've read again, but let's be honest, I've read Harry Potter at least 3 or 4 times already. So there will be more Harry Potter in the future. Those were all the questions. I hope you enjoyed the week of tags and you were all successful in the booktubeathon, and I hope I'll have a review for you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.
I'm calling this the Bandwagon book tag